In order. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I have a roll call of supervisors, please? Supervisor Gable. Thank you, Supervisor Gable. Supervisor Kubicki, Nudo, and Cardinelli are excused. Citizen comments. Any citizens wishing to speak, you have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Michael Bell, 3317 13th Place, Kenosha. And forgive me if I talk too directly into the microphone. I handed out to all the county board supervisors tonight a letter that I submitted to District Attorney Gravely. And in the back of that pamphlet that I handed you, there are some screenshots of some text messages that were exchanged between the Chief of Police and DA Gravely. And I know recently the DA and the chief said that there was nothing regarding the Michael Bell case in those the text messages, but I'm giving you the full amount of those screenshots so that way you all understand that there were some problems. That had to do with Chief McGinnis being actually able to block or coordinate or cooperate with the DA and the sheriff about having somebody investigate his police officers. It could be likened to this, a commercial air carrier handpicking an NTSB investigator to investigate the crash, an NFL team picking a judge for the big game, or its own referee for a big game. Retired Chief Deputy Sheriff Gary Buys, he was the lead legislator for Act 348 that required independent investigation of police shootings. He told me that it's like a crook being able to handpick his jury. I've been trying to get an independent probe, and the only independent probes that can occur are through the district attorney, the sheriff, the chief of police, or the Wisconsin DOJ. And you can see that they communicated together to block Michael Bell. There was an additional letter that's in there, and it is two sentences, and one's a paragraph, and one came from Kenosha County Judge Jason Roselle, and the other came from Sheriff Beth. And if you look at this, I don't know if you noticed the large full-page ad I had in Sunday's paper, but it asked DA Gravely to recuse himself because of his multiple conflicts of interest. Judge Jason Roselle emailed an investigative reporter, and he said he recused himself in December on this matter. He was an assistant district attorney when my son was killed, and he worked in that office. But I think more important is that Sheriff David Beth has also recused himself. He says, at the meeting and in subsequent correspondence, I informed you that the Kenosha County Sheriff's Department could not perform this investigation since our department is familiar with most or all the parties requested to be investigated, and there would be a perceived conflict of interest. I asked this Kenosha County Board of Supervisors, how can a judge recuse himself from conflict of interest? How could a sheriff recuse himself for conflict of interest? But the DA can go ahead and participate because he's fully involved with all the players, just like these two elected officials are. According to Webster, the word lobby means to seek influence. Seeking to influence politicians or public officials on a particular issue. And in February 2018, DA Gravely got up one morning, had gotten an email that Michael Bell was going to ask for a resolution in the Common Council. And I supplied this phone log to you in the past, but he started making sequential phone calls to 13 of the 17 Common Council members. And I ask you, why would he do that? Was it just because he was doing them a favor? Or did he have something to protect? In closing, I'm going to play, I have the permission of the county board chair to play a voicemail message that we uncovered during open records requests. And I'm hoping it'll transfer well here. I'm not positive that it will be because I wasn't able to test it out. But I would like to play you a 1-minute voicemail message left by D.A. Gravely to a City of Kenosha Common Council member regarding blocking or talking about the Michael Bell shooting probe.
Dave, this is Mike Gravely. I'm the DA here in Kenosha. I'm calling because I received an email this morning that indicated that Michael Bell had talked to G. John Ruffalo, who was going to do a resolution for the City Council calling on me to order a coroner's inquest on his son's death from about 15 years ago. And I know he's spoken extensively during citizens' comments for folks, and as the prosecutor, it's really not appropriate for me to sort of make public comments about that in any detail. But I would like an opportunity to talk to you and sort of brief you on sort of my thought process and why I've turned him down. So I wanted to give you a detailed sort of briefing on why that process has happened. Hoping to do that this week since I start a murder trial next week. So I have no idea what your availability is or whether you feel that's something you're interested in doing, but hoping you could come to the DA's office sometime late in the afternoon on one of the days this week. If you could give me a call back and just let me know about your availability, my phone number is 653-2687. Thanks very much, Dave. Appreciate it.
The letter that you have in front of you is being sent to 32,000 residents in the city of Kenosha and in Kenosha County. That should be released by Friday of this week. And I just want to make everyone aware that there is an extreme conflict of interest here, and ask you once again is why is D.A. Gravely not stepping aside on this? Who is he protecting and why? So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Any other citizens' comments? Citizens' comments? Any other citizens' comments? Seeing none, citizens' comments are closed. Moving on, the announcements of the chairman. I do have a few. I'd like to wish everybody a Happy New Year. I look forward to working with everybody in 2019 to move the county forward in a positive direction. I'd like to welcome Anna Catt from Finance Administration from Youth and Governance here tonight. Welcome. With that, that's all I have. We'll move on to supervisor reports. Supervisor Alverman, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a couple brief things that I've been reporting on as we've gone along here, just a couple updates. The highway operations, County Highway S, I believe for at least a couple years I've been reporting. Mr. Arbit says we've been working on it for a little over 4. We are now in acquisition and demolition phase of that project. The number 2, which is the Highway H to I-94, we are actually close to 90% in acquisition, and that is where demolition is already occurring. Phase 1, we are also in acquisition and still on schedule for a 2020 construction start. Highway F realignment in Randall Township, the same thing, a 2020 start. And Highway K project, spring of 2019. In parks, we have set all our fees for this year on rentals and on the fees for that at our beaches and parks, and we had no increases in any of those fees. In the Pringle Nature Center, if you remember the Boundless Adventure group that is partnering with us and Pringle at the Bristol Woods County Park. They have been out this winter starting to set that course, and they plan on being in business this spring. Katy Park restoration, we are done with winter seating that was done there. Phase 1 at Pike River, we are done. And this past couple of weeks, we did the demolition at Pets on the ballparks. Golf, naturally, is in the winter mode, preparing for the golf shows, getting the clubhouses ready to perform in the spring. A couple other projects and facilities, the courthouse chiller replacement that, again, I've been reporting on for months, is now scheduled to be completed April 19th. The couple other projects, the Anderson Arts Center, construction is expected to begin in early 2019. Branch 1 courtroom, our timing on bids was very good on this project, and we came in within budget, quite a bit lower than expected, and the completion no later than June 1st on an 8-week construction duration. Public safety building, the shooting range project is virtually completed, so sorry I have to rush through those, but I want to keep you updated on ongoing things. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Altman. Supervisor Frederick, you have the floor.
Yes. Chairman Esposito talked at the last meeting we had about having things listed on the agenda beforehand. So Judiciary and Law has moved their meetings now to the second Tuesday of the month, so that way it can be listed on the agenda ahead of time. So from now on, if you want to come to our meetings, it'll be on the second floor, but the second Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Supervisor Frederick. Any other questions from any supervisors? You can contact Supervisor Frederick. Supervisor Gasky, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Since becoming a member of the Kenosha County Board last fall, I've welcomed the opportunity to join Kenosha County's sustainability team. And tonight, I just want to take a couple of minutes to update the board on the sustainability team's end-of-the-year meeting last month. So for those that may not be familiar with it, the Kenosha County Sustainability Team is a cross-departmental collaboration to improve the efficiency and the quality of government operations, as well as the work and the daily lives of our county's valued employees. So the sustainability team seeks to evaluate the environmental, the social, the economic, and the cultural impact of Kenosha County's operations and services. Now, when you hear the term sustainability team, you may simply assume that our primary concern is the environment, focusing on things like recycling, for example. But in reality, the sustainability team not only seeks to reduce environmental impacts, but we also seek to reduce cost, to reduce time, and to reduce waste throughout all aspects of our community. And so tonight, I just want to share with you one of the many success stories of the sustainability team's efforts this past year. This positive example from the Parks Division does a great job of illustrating the sustainability team's multifaceted approach. So Silver Lake Park is one of Kenosha County's most popular attractions, including hiking and swimming and picnicking and many other activities. And throughout the summer months, Silver Lake Park collects an entrance fee to help defray the costs of operation. In 2017, the Parks Division, with assistance from the Facilities Division, constructed a fee booth near Silver Lake Beach. And over time, the Parks Department recognized the need to be able to collect fees electronically via credit and debit card using a point-of-sale system. Because the reality is, nowadays, many people simply don't have cash on hand. There was a problem, however. To install a credit card system requires electricity, but there was no electricity available in or near the Silver Lake fee booth. And after getting a quote from We Energies to run a power line to the booth, the Parks Division sadly realized that it would be far too cost prohibitive to do this project. So that's when Matt Collins, Director of Parks and also a member of Kenosha County's sustainability team, collaborated with others throughout the county to find a workable and efficient solution: solar electricity. So working with the Kenosha's Facilities Division, the Parks Division installed solar panels on the fee booth for 1/3 of the cost compared to installing a traditional electronics line. Did you catch that? That was 1/3 of the cost to running a traditional electric line. The new solar panels, in conjunction with the point-of-sale system, have been a huge success this past season at Silver Lake Park. And this upgrade not only has allowed the Parks Division to conveniently collect fees electronically, it has actually increased the amount of sales compared to past years. And by analyzing the electronic sales data, the Parks Division has been able to more efficiently schedule additional staff at busy times and fewer staff at slower times. And this, in turn, has reduced wait times for park patrons, it's increased staff efficiency, and it's reduced overall cost and overhead. So finally, the Parks Division is now able to utilize the solar panels and the Wi-Fi service accompanied with those to better accommodate customers not only at the fee booth, but also in the kayak and paddle boat rental areas. So in summary, the Parks Department has been able to increase sales, reduce waste and inefficiencies, and improve the overall quality and experience of Silver Lake Park, all thanks to some creative, sustainable thinking, and all thanks to that at just a fraction of the cost of running a traditional electric line. If you ask me, that's a real win-win-win. So in conclusion, let me ask you, as the county board, do you like saving time? Do you like saving money? Do you like improving efficiency and reducing waste? Then I urge you to support the ongoing efforts of Kenosha County's sustainability team in the coming year as we seek to improve the quality of life for everyone who lives and works and visits our wonderful community. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gasky. Seeing no other supervisor reports are closed. County Clerk.
County Executive Appointments. 33, Dr. Noel Scheer to serve on the Kenosha County Library Systems Board.
Refer to Finance Administration Committee.
New Business, Resolution 1 reading. 63, from the Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution to accept and utilize Wisconsin Land Information Program grant funding for Kenosha County Land Records Modernization Project activities. Supervisor Rose, yes. Ron Frederick, yes. Supervisor Gentz, yes. Supervisor Kubicki, excused. Supervisor O'Day, yes. Gable, yes. In Wamble, yes.
Thank you. Supervisor Rose, you have the floor.
All right, thank you, and I would move the resolution before the board.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. I have a motion by Supervisor Rose and a second by Supervisor Frederick. Supervisor Rose.
All right, thank you. This is an amendment of the budget to accept some $50,000 from the state of Wisconsin to update the tax delinquent properties and the Wisconsin Land Information Program grant is to update the functionality of the system. We found, as you recall, that when the tax delinquency issue was before the board, that records were not updated, that computerization was not as updated as it should be. A lot of that has been taken care of through information systems. This is a $50,000 grant to continue that program.
Thank you, Supervisor Rose. Any supervisors have any discussion on this item? Seeing none, this is a 2/3 vote because of budget modification. So there'll be a roll call that's requested. So yes, in your favor, no if you're not. Resolution passes unanimously.
Resolution 64, a resolution from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee to approve the appointment of Aaron Strom to serve as a member of the Local Emergency Planning Committee. Supervisor Boyd Frederick, yes. Wamble, yes. Celebrity, yes. Uhas, yes. Rodriguez, Rodriguez, excused.
Supervisor Frederick, you have the floor.
Yes, move Resolution 64.
Thank you. I have a motion by Supervisor Frederick and a second by Supervisor Wamble. Supervisor Frederick.
Yes, the committee unanimously approved Mr. Strawn to remain on the committee. What we found out in our discussions with him is that he actually had been doing 2 jobs at once, and that's why he had missed so many meetings. And now that he's just doing his job, he should be able to make most of the meetings. And now that there's only 2 a year, that should also help him with his attendance and in order to make the meetings.
Thank you, Supervisor Frederick. Seeing no discussion on this item, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution passes.
Resolution 65, from the Public Works, Facilities, and Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution authorizing a relocation order for County Trunk Highway S Phase 1. From Public Works and Facilities Committee, Supervisor Elverman, yes. Franco, yes. Cardinelli, excused. Skalitsky, excused. Uhas, no. Nordigan, yes. Poole, yes. Yours is marked nay.
Let the record reflect Supervisor Uhas approved.
And from the Finance and Administration Committee, Supervisor Rose, yes. Ron Frederick, yes. O'Day, yes. Gable, yes. Wamble, yes. Gantz, yes. Kubicki, excused.
Thank you. Supervisor Elverman, you have the floor.
I move Resolution 65.
Thank you. I have a motion by Supervisor Elverman and a second by Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Elverman.
As I mentioned in my report, thank you, Mr. Chairman, this ongoing project, and I have been reporting here to the county board for the past couple of years on the engineering, our trials and tribulations with the federal government, with the airport, with many, many facets of government to finally get all our approvals for this. We have, as I reported in my report, begun acquisition on the 2 phases. Phase 1 is State Highway 31 to County Highway H. That is what we're talking about in Resolution 65. Phase 2 is Highway H to I-94, and I'll have another follow-up resolution coming. What this resolution does is put the county board on record as approving this acquisition, relocation order for County Highway S. As I said, we have been acquiring property. We have roughly 90% acquired in Phase 2. There are all kind of safeguards for the landowner when we go about these acquisitions, and we have a real estate company that does this. Now, we do an appraisal. They have the ability at our cost to do an appraisal. And generally, as I said, since we're at just about 90%, we come to an agreement. Property is acquired, payment is made, and in some cases, there's actual relocation. When there's relocation, property is acquired, we assist in that and assist in the moving of equipment and process. Also covered under this relocation order are renters, farmers that rent property, that lease property and farm on some of this farmland. So it is a tool that the county wants to use as we get into the possibility of some of these bigger projects. If you have lived here for even a short period of time, you know what's happening with Foxconn there. There has been much activity, much land acquisition. We are having it occur right now on Highway KR. We have the possibility of it coming up in other locations in the county. Though in the past, the highway commissioner is able to act on behalf of the county and take care of these responsibilities. Through our council and representatives that are helping us with some of these projects, we were told that as a county, this tool would assist if we have to get into actual eminent domain, relocation, court, that type of procedures. So what this does is say, as a county, not just the Highway Committee, that we are on board with this project, on board with the relocation. That is it is in the best interest of the public, and we offer all these safeguards to property owners that we are negotiating with. So I ask for your approval. We've gone through presentations to two committees, Finance and the Public Works Committee, and both of these were passed unanimously by both committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Alverman. Supervisor Gantz, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When it came before Finance, I asked questions just to make sure I understood how the process unfolded, and I always like to make sure that the people that we represent have a chance to air any of their issues and work with us and that type of thing. So I asked that question in Finance, and I was satisfied. I talked again before the meeting with Ray Arbit, and he assured me and walked me through the process. So I'm comfortable with my vote. I would just like to, through the chair, ask Supervisor Skalitsky, since it's his district, if he knows of any issues out there that we might not be aware of. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Skalitsky, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There have been none that have been brought to my attention, other than occasionally there were some questions regarding the firm we were using and how that was being handled. We stepped in and straightened that out, and right now, both these resolutions simply state that we, as elected officials, support the activity that the administration is pursuing. It makes sense because of what is going to occur with this road. These properties, you wouldn't want to be living in them, so it makes sense to have them, if they don't want to voluntarily sell them to the county, that eminent domain steps in. I live out there. I can't see why any of these residents or landowners at this point in time would have objections to this. But on the other hand, in this litigious society that we live, we never know what's going to happen in the future.
Thank you, Supervisor Skalitsky. Supervisor Gantz, does that answer your question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else?
Thank you,
Okay.
Supervisor Skalitsky.
Thank you. Supervisor Grady, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Having served in the Public Works Committee previously and being at tonight's committee meeting, I'd like to emphasize that Kenosha County has never, ever used the power of eminent domain in acquiring a property. It is truly a method of last resort, and our intentions and our ability to negotiate has been very good, and often it has tilted a little bit more towards the landowner. So I think we're going to see a similar situation occur with this round of negotiations. But again, being such a large project and needing to have it on a time track that's going to be acceptable to all parties is kind of the approach that we're taking here. So again, I think that's all in order, and I ask your support.
Thank you, Supervisor Grady. Any other supervisors have any other comments in regards to this resolution? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution passes.
Resolution 66 from the Public Works, Facilities, and Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution authorizing a relocation order for County Trunk Highway S Phase 2. Public Works Committee, Supervisor Elverman, yes. Franco, yes. Cardinelli, excused. Skalitsky, excused. Uhas, yes. Nordigan, yes. Poole, yes. From the Finance Administration Committee, Supervisor Rose, yes. Ron Frederick, yes. O'Day, yes. Gable, yes. Wamble, yes. Gantz, yes. And Kubicki, excused.
Thank you. Supervisor Alverman, you have the floor.
I move Resolution 66.
Thank you. I have a motion by Supervisor Alverman and a second by Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Alverman.
Thank you. This is the Phase 2 resolution of that same project. As we said at our committee meeting, Phase 2 is actually going to be Phase 1 here because we are doing so well with the relocations and the acquisitions. And there's less players involved. When we get on to the other side of Highway H, Phase 1, we have state and federal dollars involved. It's a different ballgame. We are going to be going slower on that acquisition. But this is exact same resolution for Phase 2 of the same project, so I ask your approval.
Thank you, Supervisor Alverman. Supervisor Sklitsky, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Even though I was unable to attend the meeting, I do support both resolutions. I want to make that clear. This is, and to basically second what Supervisor Grady had said, this is not a move where the county is looking to flex its muscle and just land grab. We're very, very sensitive to the landowner's needs, but this is a road that has got to be expanded. It's vital, I think, to the health of Kenosha, the city of Kenosha, as well as the county, and this will just set in place the recognition that we as elected officials support this this project and this growth potential for the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Sklitsky. I'd like to thank Mr. Arbit for sending out all the documents to the supervisors prior to this meeting, so everybody was aware and apprised of what was going on. Right now, I see no other discussion on this issue. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution passes.
Resolution 67, from the Public Works Facility Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Sergeant Aaron Schaefer to serve on the Kenosha County Traffic Safety Commission. Supervisor Alverman, yes. Franco, yes. Poole, yes. Cardinelli, excused. Nordigan, yes. Sklitsky, yes. And Uhas, yes.
Thank you. Supervisor Alverman, you have the floor.
I move the resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I have a motion by Supervisor Alverman and a second by Supervisor Franco. Supervisor Alverman.
The County Traffic Safety Commission is naturally very important, and it is very important that it has a wide-ranging group of people serving on it. We have the medical examiner, we have people from the private sector, but we also have been fortunate enough to have people volunteer to be on this that are with the law enforcement. And we've had Lieutenant Dan Riley from Pleasant Prairie on serving in this position. Lucky to have him, and serving naturally without pay. He has moved on in his work, and we were fortunate enough to have Sergeant Aaron Schaefer volunteer to serve on the Traffic Safety Commission. And again, this is without pay. This is a vital piece of the puzzle on this commission, to have a member of law enforcement in a management position with the Pleasant Prairie Police Department. So I would thank him for this volunteering and the serving, and ask for your approval. It was approved unanimously at the committee.
Thank you, Supervisor Alverman. Seeing no discussion on this issue, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution passes.
Communications 10, communications from Andy M. Bueller regarding future items scheduled before the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
Refer to PDEC committee.
11, communications from Ray Arbit notifying the county board of a future resolution requiring prior committee attention and approval. Resolution to
Go ahead.
resolution to accept grant funding for Kemper shoreline protection.
Thank you. Refer to Public Works.
Claims 17, Eric Evanson, vehicle damage.
Refer to Corporation Council.
18, Anna Waters, personal injury.
Refer to Corporation Council.
The approval of the December 4th, 2018 minutes by Supervisor Celebrate.
Supervisor Celebrate, you have the floor.
I'd so move for the approval, Your Honor.
I have a motion by Supervisor Celebrate and a second by Supervisor Gantz. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn by Supervisor Berg and a second by Supervisor Rodriguez. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.